Conference just days before our big showdown in one of boxing's all-time great rivalries, Vazquez versus Marquez IV. Once and for all, our big night of action brought to you courtesy of Golden Boy Promotions, Gary Shaw Productions, Espinosa Boxing Promotions, and Schaefer Promotions. Our big night of action takes place at the Staples Center this Saturday, May the 22nd. It is also sponsored by Cerveza Tecate. Well, fans, our first co-featured bout of the evening, first to be televised on Showtime, is going to be a great one as well. We have the IBF Bantamweight Championship of the World, Yonnhy Perez defending his title for the first time against the undefeated Abner Mares. Two undefeated fighters squaring off for the IBF Bantamweight Championship of the World. My name is Jimmy Lennon Jr. It was my pleasure to be part of Vasquez Marquez 1, 2, and 3. Truly some of the great fights that we have ever seen. Of course, Vasquez Marquez 2 and 3 named Ring Magazine Fight of the Year, and these guys are going to get it on for what promises to be an outstanding fourth matchup of this boxing rivalry. Well, don't just take my word for it. 1, 2, and 3 were so great. We're going to encourage you to take a look at the video screens at this time and taste a little bit of the drama of the great Vasquez-Marquez rivalry. Guarantee you'll be applauding well after Vasquez Marquez for this Saturday evening. My role this afternoon is as a facilitator. We have a number of key players here, not only the fighters, but the men who have made this event possible. And so my job is just to move us along so that we can hear from each and every one of them. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to hear from each of them here this afternoon. We're going to have a photo opportunity at the end, some Q&A at the end. We have limited time for one-on-one, so we encourage you to take part in our open Q&As towards the end of this afternoon. This time I'd like to acknowledge the promoters. As I had mentioned, those who have made this event possible. They worked so hard together. We're going to hear a little bit more about that a little bit later on. First to my right, my pleasure to introduce to you the CEO of Golden Boy Promotions and Vasquez's co-promoter, Richard Schaefer. And to my left, the president of Gary Shaw Productions and Marquez's co-promoter, Gary Shaw. And to the far end, to my right, we have the president of Espinosa Boxing Promotions and Vasquez's co-promoter, Frankie Espinosa. Frankie's actually behind me. And to my left, far end to the left, we have the president of Sanfer Promotions and Marquez's co-promoter, Fernando Beltran. A little bit later, we're also going to hear from the promoter from the Perez Marquez bout, brought to you in association with Thompson Boxing Promotions, Mr. Ken Thompson. I know personally that Showtime is so enthusiastic about this bout, so behind. I know that Ken Hirschman has been so dedicated to this great, not only trilogy, but now fourth matchup between these two great fighters. And at this time, we'd like to hear a little bit from the Senior Director of Communications from Showtime Sports. Please welcome Mr. Chris de Blasio.
Thank you, everyone. We certainly have a lot to get to today, so I will be as brief as possible. But I must say that on behalf of Ken Hirschman, our General Manager at Showtime Sports, on behalf of David Dickens, our Executive Producer of all of our sports telecasts, and all of us at Showtime Sports, we are really excited about what lies ahead on Saturday night. This fight card exemplifies the type of fights that we have been televising for years, namely well thought out, very competitive matchups, all delivered for free to our subscribers on Showtime. I find it hard to express the admiration that all of us at Showtime Sports have for the fighters. I'm not just talking about Vasquez and Marquez for all that they've given us as fight fans, but also for Yonnhy Perez for taking a very difficult fight, putting his title on the line against an apt challenger in Abner Mares, in what many of you have already said could steal the show on Saturday night, possibly even fight of the year. So without further ado, I should say thank you to the promoters, Richard Schaefer from Golden Boy, Gary Shaw from Gary Shaw Productions, Ken Thompson of Thompson Boxing, and of course Frankie Espinosa and his son for putting on a great fight. Thank you to all the press, and most of all, thank you to the fighters for bringing it every time, night after night. So we're looking forward to a great show Saturday night. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Chris de Blasio. A little bit of housekeeping. I do want to let you know that on Saturday evening, the first bout is at 3 p.m. The IBF title fight begins at 6, but of course we're going on Showtime at 9 p.m. Tickets are priced at $250 all the way down to $25. Available at Ticketmaster and also available at the Staples Center box office. This time, my pleasure to introduce to you one of the gentlemen who has worked so hard to make this event possible. Please welcome to the microphone at this time, CEO of Golden Boy Promotions, Mr. Richard Schaefer.
Thank you, Jimmy, and thank you to all the co-promoters of this fight card. We have 4 promoters here, all 3 of which are presidents. There's a lot of presidents here, and I'm only the CEO, but anyway. I'd like to thank AEG to hosting this great event. The first 3 were at the Home Depot Center, the tennis stadium. Had a great crowd there, great gate, and this one here, with a few days still to go, we are already exceeding the ticket sales we had there. And these 2 great fighters really deserve to be fighting here at the Staples Center, at the site where some of the biggest and best fights in the last 5-6 years have been taking place, such as De La Hoya, Mosley, Margarita Mosley, Lennox Lewis, and Klitschko. So it's really just fitting that these true warriors are going to be fighting Saturday night here in one of the best buildings in North America. I'd like to thank Tim Lawicki, the president and CEO of AEG, Dan Beckerman, the COO and CFO of AEG, and as well Lee Seidman, the vice president and general manager of Staples Center. I'd like to acknowledge as well and thank Mo Noor and Che Guevara from the California State Athletic Commission, which is going to oversee this great fight card on Saturday night. And finally, a big thank you to Ken Hirschman and his team of Showtime for the commitment they have shown to this fight and the 3 before that. I know it's going to be fireworks again. And just before, somebody asked me, well, when do you think the crowd is going to be on their feet? I said, well, the crowd is going to be on their feet when these two warriors are going to walk into the ring. This is one of those fights you don't want to miss. These are two of truly legendary fighters which have given it their all and will give it their all again come Saturday night. The card is supported by a great undercard, and the main event, the semi-main event, you really can't call that as it's really a main event on its own, and as Gary said before, and many others said, it really could steal the night. And I know that's a bold prediction, because having Israel Vazquez and Rafael Marquez in the main event, how can somebody say that these two other guys here, Abner Mares and Yonnhy Perez, could steal the night? But believe me, they could. It's a great card. But before that, you're going to have some great undercard fights as well. Before the televised portion will start, 2 of those fighters are here in attendance, and I'd like to ask them quickly to come up and say a few words. It's 2 fighters which are undefeated, 2 fighters which are here from Southern California, and 2 fighters which over the past 6 or 7 months or so have sold out almost time after time right across the street. The Nokia, the club Nokia, actually right here in the structure, what do I say? And they have really made a name for themselves, have a tremendous fan following, and that is the undefeated junior lightweight prospect, Yonnhy Perez, with 10-0 from Santa Ana, California. He will face a top fighter, Guadalupe Hueslaco from Texas, and I'd like to ask Yonnhy Perez to come up to the podium quickly.
Hello, good afternoon. First of all, I want to thank Golden Boy for making this possible. Frankie Espinosa, and my coach Hector Lopez, who's been there through everything. I want to say thank you, and hopefully I put up a good show for you guys. Thank you so much, and good afternoon.
Thank you, Ronnie. And a fighter from Norwalk, California, Carlos Molina, with a record of 11-0. Carlos. By the way, will be fighting Humberto Tapia from Tijuana, Mexico.
How you guys doing? I'm happy to be here in this, fighting in the undercard of 2 Hall of Famers, and I'm ready to, put on a good show for everybody and enjoy the rest of the fights. Thank you.
Now to Team Mares. It's a pleasure for me to acknowledge Abner Mares' father and co-manager Ismael Mares, who I think is in attendance. Okay, and it is a pleasure for me now to introduce to you and ask up to the podium a very good friend of mine, the co-manager for Abner Mares, and that's of course Frank Espinosa.
Thank you, Richard, and thank you everyone for being here. Anyone who's watched Abner Mares box is awed by his skills. They realize that they're watching a special talent, a master craftsman inside the ring, in a tradition of Finito Lopez and a Juan Manuel Marquez. Abner has a tough task ahead of him on Saturday night against Yonnhy Perez, but I have full confidence in his ability and his genius inside the ring. On Saturday night, Abner Mares will fight the fight of his life. He'll dance and punch and use his mind. And when all said is done and the dust settles, and from the hard, tough battle, there will be a new IBF champion in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, Abner Mares.
Thank you, Frank. For really good words. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank everybody
everybody for putting this great show together. 2 great fights. It's been a while, you know, to me and to a lot of people know that it's been a while since they had a card, you know, with 2 great fights that, like Richard said, that either one could have been a main event. What can I say? I'm facing Yonnhy Perez, the IBF World Champion of the world, a great friend. But come May 22nd, I'm gonna treat him as the friend that stole my girlfriend, and you know, I'm gonna take it to him. What can I say? I'm really excited. This is something I've been waiting for my whole life. And I'm going to take fully advantage of it, and I'm going to take that world championship back home to Mexico, Guadalajara, Jalisco, and make sure you watch it. May 22nd, Abner Mares, Yonnhy Perez are going to steal the show. Thank you. Para mi gente que habla español, muy buenas tardes. Gracias por haber venido. Muy emocionado. Darle las gracias a la gente, a los promotores que pusieron esta cartelera. Hace mucho tiempo que no tenemos una cartelera con 2 grandes peleas, que cualquiera de las 2 pudo haber sido la estelar. Vamos a tratar de ganar esta pelea, va a ser muy dura. Yonnhy Perez es mi gran amigo, buena persona, pero el 22 de mayo yo lo voy a tratar como el amigo que me robó la novia, y ni modo, le voy a tener que dar con todo. Esto es un negocio, así es, y vamos a ganar, Dios quiera, y esta pelea, claro, se la dedico a todo México y a todo Guadalajara, Jalisco. Muchas gracias.
For those of you who don't speak Spanish, Abner Mares was complimenting me on being a great promoter. Let me, just some quick housekeeping if I could. Number 1, I am a cancer survivor of prostate cancer. They always applaud me, but I rather applaud my doctors. And they were LA doctors at UCLA. I came all the way from New Jersey to get medical care here in California. But, you know, we're all focused on women's breast cancer, and 95% of all men die with prostate cancer, but you don't have to die from prostate cancer. It's a simple blood test. It's called the PSA test. If you're 40 years or older, you need to get it. If you're not 40 years old, tell a father, a grandfather, an uncle, a friend, or whatever. It'll save their life, it saved mine. Thank you very much for indulging me on that. Next, I'd like you all to put Nick Charles. Nick is an announcer on Showbox, the new generation for Showtime. Put him in your prayers. He's fighting a terrible case of cancer. He did his last fight, I think, a couple of weeks ago. Nick is one of the all-time great guys in boxing, and truly a good guy that is fighting the fight of his life. He has a little girl that he's fighting for. He's moving to New Mexico. He goes to Arizona for special treatments. So I ask that you put Nick Charles in your prayers. On a little more light side, I know, Richard, you said something about you not being the president. I'm proud to announce today that you are the new president of Golden Boy LLC. I don't care what Oscar says. I will print the cards for you, but you got to get your money from Oscar. But I will bestow you the title. The other thing is, I don't drink beer. I'm strictly water and Crystal Light and iced tea, but looking at you and you, I'm starting to drink Tecate as soon as I get off this stage. So I must have been missing something for the last 65 years. So count me on for Tecate. I'd like to introduce the Yonnhy Perez team, but I do want to say one thing about Yonnhy Perez, because he is a special, special, special kid. In all my years of boxing, and I've been in it since 1971, I've never met a kid that has never asked for anything in boxing. Not one penny from us. And that he's just happy to be boxing. And it is refreshing. And I went to Colombia this year to visit Yonnhy with Alex Campanova. And Yonnhy, the first thing he said when we went to his house was, "Mi casa su casa," my home is your home. And I asked him, as he keeps fighting, does he want to make more money and move? His house is all cinder block. There's no sheetrock, there's no paint, there's no wallpaper, there's no anything. The street was all rocks and holes and whatever. And he turned to me, he said, "I would never move. This is my home, these are my people, and this is my neighborhood." And all I can tell you, this is just a real special kid. Now Frank, if you think you're walking away with the belt on Saturday, you must have one of those medicinal cards here. It ain't happening. I also am fortunate to have a great partner in Ken Thompson. So I'd like to bring Ken up to say a few words, and then Alex Campanova, who works so closely and works for Ken. Ken Thompson. The 118-pound IBF world champion, Yonnhy Perez.
Buenas tardes, quiero darle gracias a todos ustedes por estar aquí acompañándonos.
Good afternoon. Hello. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure for me to be here today. Thank you all for joining us at this press conference.
Bueno, primero que todo le doy gracias a Dios, la televisión de Showtime, a los promotores, Gary Show, Kenny Thompson, Golden Boy, Oscar de la Hoya, Caña Espinosa, que hicieron posible esta presentación del día 22 de mayo.
First of all, I want to thank God, and I want to thank my promoters, Gary Shaw, Ken Thompson, the other promoters of this event, to Oscar de la Hoya, Golden Boy, to Frank Espinosa for making this May 22nd fight possible.
Ese día voy a tener la gran oportunidad y responsabilidad de defender este cinturón que me están viéndome aquí en mi pecho. Este cinturón no es mío, no es de Yonnhy Perez. Este cinturón es de Yonnhy, pero Yonnhy Jr. y de Mateo. Y las cosas que uno le da a los hijos no se las quita.
Just want to let you all know that it's a great responsibility for me to be fighting on May 22nd and having the possibility to defend my title that night. But this belt that you see around my neck, on my chest, does not belong to Yonnhy Perez. Doesn't belong to me. It belongs to Yonnhy Perez Jr. and Mateo, my two sons. And the things that you give to your kids, you never take away from them.
Este cinturón se lo regalé el día 31 de octubre del año pasado. Ahorita me lo traje prestado y les prometí que se los voy a regresar, se los voy a volver a llevar y yo pienso de que no tengo más nada que decir. Lo que calle hoy lo van a verlo el día sábado 22 de mayo en el Staples Center en el cuadrilátero. Gracias.
This is a belt that I brought back from Colombia after I gave it as a gift to my kids on October 31st when I was able to win it. I just have it here on loan because I have to take it back to my kids after May 22nd. I'm not going to say much more. Everything is going to be set in the ring at the Staples Center on the night of Saturday, on Saturday night, so don't miss it.
Gracias a todos ustedes y al público de California.
Is this guy is a fighter. He is a true fighter, a guy that goes to war. On Saturday, May 22nd, when the bell rings, Richard's right. You probably stand up as they do their ring walk. You probably sit down when the fight starts, and within 30 seconds, everybody will be standing, guaranteed. So let me bring up the future Hall of Famer, the guy who has left his blood and guts on the ring mat, who's given every fan a thrill, who's been involved in 2 fights of the year, Rafael Marquez.
Yo sé bien que estoy afuera, que yo me muera, sé que tendrás que llorar. Y llorar, llorar y llorar. Dirás que no me quisiste, pero vas a estar muy triste y así te vas a quedar. Con dinero y sin dinero.
Por venir. Bueno, gracias a Gary, gracias a Golden Boy, Schaefer, que realmente hicieron posible esta cuarta pelea. Bueno, venimos a dar un gran espectáculo y toda la gente que realmente va a ver esta pelea va a quedar con ganas de realmente con un espectáculo a hacer. Y bueno, no hay más palabras.
Good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for being here. I would like to thank Golden Boy, thank Gary Shaw for making this possible. And I know this is going to be a great show. We're going to put a great show together on this Saturday.
Y bueno, no hay palabras que decir, simplemente ya nos conoce. Sabemos que es un gran peleador fuerte, peleador duro que realmente va por todo. Y bueno, igualmente venimos por ahora sí que por todas las canicas, ¿no?
There's no words to say, there's no introduction for us, everybody knows us. We know in front of us we have a strong fighter, a fighter who comes for all, and we're coming for all also. So.
Y bueno, esta pelea se le dedicamos a todo México, a todos Los Ángeles que realmente nos han apoyado siempre, a toda la gente que realmente está detrás de nosotros. Y bueno, esta pelea se le dedicamos a toda esa gente.
Well, this fight, I would like to dedicate this fight to all the people in Mexico, to all the people in LA who's been supporting us, to all the people behind me who's been supporting me a lot, and to all these people we dedicate this fight.
Van a ver una cuarta pelea, van a ver realmente quién es Rafael Marquez arriba del ring y bueno, les vamos a dar un gran espectáculo a toda la gente que realmente va a ver la pelea. Muchas gracias.
You're gonna see a great show. You're gonna see who Rafael Marquez is in the ring, and on this Saturday you're going to see a tremendous show. Thank you very much.
Rafael Marquez. For us to be able to witness a fourth fight between these two great fighters is absolutely a big thank you from all of us to these two great athletes. Israel Vasquez with the record, and I agree with Gary, records don't really matter because they really are, these two guys, their accomplishments stand on their own. Israel Vasquez is a three-time world champion, a record of 44-4. I mean, amazing record these days. Truly one of the greatest fighters who ever laced up the gloves. And to be here again and agree, even though he has a 2-1 lead, what he will do on Saturday night, he will put all doubters to rest. He's going to come here and settle the score once and for all. And that is the name of the fight, and that's the great fight, and I can't wait to see it as a fan, as a promoter on Saturday night. But now, it's a true honor and pleasure to introduce to you one of the all-time greats, Israel El Magnifico Vasquez.
pues buenas tardes a todos, gracias por estar aquí. Creo que como ya lo decían la mayoría de las personas que están aquí en el podio, va a ser una gran pelea. Espero que todos salgan satisfechos, contentos con la actuación que Rafael y yo les vamos a brindar la noche del 22 de mayo. Tanto Rafael como yo venimos con la firme intención de ganar, cualquiera que sea la vía, por nocaut o por decisión. Estamos muy bien preparados física, mentalmente. Creo que a lo largo de este tiempo nos conocemos muy bien, sabemos defectos y virtudes que los dos como peleadores tenemos. Vamos a trabajar en ello para sacar una victoria contundente y pues continuar nuestro paso hacia un título del mundo o posteriormente a grandes peleas. Agradezco a Golden Boy, a Richard, a Frank Espinosa, Gary, a Bertrand, a Schaefer, a todos los que hicieron posible esta participación, este show tan importante para mi vida. Creo que también les tengo que dar las gracias y un gran saludo a todos los peleadores que van a hacer posible esta función, que sin duda alguna va a ser una de las funciones más completas a nivel mundial. Gracias, que Dios los bendiga, gracias por venir y esperen una gran pelea la noche del 22 de mayo. Gracias. Thanks for all, thanks for coming to all the people. Everybody tells about something to fight. With Rafael and me going to be to the May 22nd to the best fight of the year. I will be the best of us. Don't miss this fight. Thank you so much.